Me wish you a Shubha Boishakh, that's Happy New Year, which was celebrated. So I know it's not a great time for you to be traveling, but nonetheless we welcome many of our visitors both from here and abroad here today. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you all to ODI and particularly to welcome the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. We are also honored that she is accompanied by a number of members of her cabinet, as well as other senior officials and the High Commissioner, including the Minister for Foreign Affairs, the State Minister for Women and Children's Affairs, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, as well as the High Commissioner, who has worked very closely with us to make this event possible today. So thank you all. Bangladesh has traveled a remarkable journey in the last few decades. Once known for the severity of things like floods and famine, since 1990, over 50 million people in Bangladesh have exited extreme poverty, a reduction in the poverty rate from 44% to 13%. Now, we all agree that 13% is still too many. Nonetheless, it is an extraordinary number of people who have moved up. And indeed, just a few weeks ago in New York, Bangladesh, which is the world's most populous, least developed country, met the 3 criteria to graduate from LDC status for the first time. And this was due not only to the successful growth that Bangladesh has enjoyed, but indeed inclusive growth. So much so that they are the first LDC to meet all 3 of these categories. Maintaining this success will result in graduation in the years to come. But to meet their goals going forward, and indeed to help the whole world meet its sustainable development goals, some big challenges still remain for Bangladesh. Bangladesh's economy must not only continue to grow and diversify, but it must also include those who are still left behind. Social indicators such as gender gaps in the workforce and education, as well as maternal mortality rates and child marriage, still require improvement, and climate risks, as always, loom large for Bangladesh. ODI is proud to have traveled this journey with Bangladesh. Indeed, I was just telling the Prime Minister that shortly after independence, ODI published a report on the economic prospects for Bangladesh by a renowned Cambridge professor of economics, Sir Austin Robinson. Indeed, it asks about whether Bangladesh is going to be able to overcome its poverty now that it has gained independence, something that we will be talking more about today. I'm also proud to say that ODI continues its long tradition of working with Bangladesh on a range of issues, including economic progress, including the future of work, especially for women and girls, and a range of humanitarian issues, including the with are members of this dynamic group. Indeed, on your chairs, I hope you found copies of a new ODI report which outlines the opportunities for creating jobs, sharing prosperity, and increasing resilience across the Commonwealth. So I ask you to read it, share it, and give it to your favorite political leader, columnist, or commentator this week. In a moment, the Prime Minister will deliver a keynote speech, after which we will engage in a conversation on a range of issues that are key to Bangladesh's development progress. And there will be an opportunity to ask some questions. And finally, I hope that many of you will be able to join us for a reception afterwards. If you are joining us online, we have many hundreds of people outside of this room. You can submit questions that I will room and online to join us in the conversation, and you can tweet using the hashtag ODI Sheikh Hasina. Now, let me properly introduce our keynote speaker. Sheikh Hasina is the Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. She became the president of the Bangladesh Awami League in 1981 while living in exile in India. She first led her party to power in the 1996 general election and became Prime Minister for the first time. Her party time. She has won many awards in her time as a leader, including the United Nations Champion of the Earth Award in 2015 for confronting the challenge of climate change at the core of Bangladesh's development agenda. UNESCO also honored her with the Tree of Peace in recognition of her outstanding contribution to the promotion of women and girls' education in 2014. She is also the chairperson of the trust commemorating
members was brutally assassinated on 15th August 1975. I lost my mother, my three brothers. The younger one was only 10 years old, two sister-in-laws, and my uncle, auntie. That day, they attacked three houses. Our family members, almost everybody's house, the killer attacked and killed the family members. My sister and myself were abroad, so we survived. But 6 years I couldn't come back to my country. We were in exile. We lived just as a refugee. And in 1981, I become, in my exile, my party, Bangladesh Awami League, elected me as a president of the party. Then I returned home. Though the then government tried to prevent me, but because I enjoyed people's support, so I was able to return home. And then I started struggling for democracy and people's well-being. So, you know, soon after the independence, as because my father got only 3.5 years to develop the country. It is a very short time for a country. people's well-being. And within 9 months, he presented our constitution, and according to constitution, he started to work for the people. But after assassination, you know, those who they violated the constitution and illegally captured the power. So Bangladesh couldn't make progress because there was no democracy at all. It was a military rule and martial law was imposed, and power was not with the people, it was inside the cantonment. Then they forget it. They start working for themselves, and that was the unfortunate thing for our people. So I have started, actually I was in London in 1980. Since then I started mobilizing the opinion to I started my struggle. My sister and myself were only the survival, so I devoted myself. That hunger, poverty, illiteracy, and exploitation-free golden Bangladesh, a developed Bangladesh. This dream has been my government's inspiration and food. I was targeted time and again. At least 19 attempts were made on my life, and I was interned or arrested several times. Distinguished audience, that was just to give you a very brief account of our struggle to make Bangladesh self-reliant. Following the term in office from 1996 to 2001, my party, Bangladesh Awami League, again assumed office in 2009. At that time, the country was struggling with several internal and external shocks: political anarchy, rise of extremism, natural disasters, commodity price hike, and a prolonged global recession. We charted our roadmap for future Bangladesh, Vision 2020. Long, medium, and short-term policies have been crafted to revitalize the economy. We formulated and implemented the 6th five-year plan that laid economy. Our government also channelized adequate fund for SME to create job opportunities in rural areas. Here I also mention one thing, that 1996, when I formed government, I found that there was no such economic policy at all. Our party, Bangladesh Awami League, we have our different cell, economic cell, social cell, and political cell. So our economic cell was very active, and we had a political party in Bangladesh Awami League is the only political party. We have always prepare our economic policy if any time we go to power, what to do, how to implement it, and how to ensure that people should get benefit of it. So that's why we have started our work in 1996 to 2001. That time we prepared it, and it was up to 2002 from 1990. Those who were in power, they had no long-term plan, and they didn't adopt any 5 years plan. It was only ad hoc basis they used to run the country. If you want to develop it, definitely you need long-term program as well as, yes, short-term program too. So we adopted 6th 5-year plan in 2009 when I became Prime Minister second time. So there, as side by side, we had adopted another 10 years long-term program. That means 2010 to 2020, what we will do for our development. We have started developing the country, and also we give importance to one thing, there's a foreign investment and also domestic investment, and we have started to encourage our people, especially our women, entrepreneurship. I wanted to bring our women in the mainstream of our economic activities. That way, like SME foundation we have adopted, that is small, medium and other industry we can start. Importance to our agriculture sector, because we wanted to fulfill our food security or need of food production. Our pragmatic and decisive policies paid dividends. We attained water-can food grain, fish, poultry and vegetables production. It is not only food, side by side, we also need nutrition. So one thing that we want to ensure that our people get their food side by side the nutrition. So that's why we also give more importance, and now Bangladesh in the fish, the sweet water fish, river fish, Bangladesh is almost self-sufficient. But poultry, vegetables production, everything now we can produce. On the fiscal front, focus was given on mobilization of domestic resources. Over 95% allocation of our national budget is made from domestic resources. Now we don't need to depend on other donation. We can do it ourselves. Our annual development project we can fulfill with our own resource, at least 90%, 95% we can do it. Private sector has been opened up to boost investment and thereby create job opportunities. We have undertaken several fast-track projects with foreign investments. 100 special economic zones are being set up across the country to attract foreign direct investment as well as domestic investment. 10 initiatives, mostly dealing with socio-economic emancipation of rural people, are being implemented under direct supervision of my office. We have introduced the concept of macro savings along with macro credit under One House, One Farm project. The poor and marginal rural people are being made self-reliant using the credit in income-generating activities. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are one of the fastest growing economies in the world with optimistic outlook. Last year the growth rate was 7.28% and this year the projected growth is 7.65%. The GDP grew by 2.5 times to $250 billion in 2017 from $100 billion in 2009. Foreign currency reserve grew more than 9 times to over $33 billion thanks to our diaspora. Per capita income leaped from US 543 in 2006 to US $1,752 this year. 2006 means when BNP was in power. That time our per capita income was only US $543, and now our people, their per capita income is $1,752 US. This year we achieved. In its review last month, the Committee on Development Policy (CDP) of UN ECOSOC found Bangladesh fulfilling its 3 eligibility criteria for graduation out of the LDC category. Bangladesh currently is the second largest RMG exporter in the world. Initiatives have been taken to make our garments factories compliant to safety and security standards. We have now 67 RMG factories with leadership in energy and environmental design certification. Top 7 environment-friendly garments and textiles factories of the world are in Bangladesh. Our pharmaceutical industries made 95% of local demand and export to more than 100 countries. Our shipbuilding industry exports ocean-going vessels to Scandinavian countries and Germany. Alongside frozen food, leather products, smart devices, IT services, jute and jute goods, toys, and many others have the potential of claiming greater share in global trade and investment. Since 2009, export earning increased 3 times to $34.67 billion US. During December 2008 election, we rolled out our Digital Bangladesh concept. We now have 136 million mobile phone users and 73 million of them use mobile data. 13 high-tech parks are being set up to boost billion-dollar ICT industry. Bangladesh is also set to launch soon its first satellite, Bangabandhu 1. We have set up about 6,000 digital and 8,500 e-post centers across the country to cater 200 different government services to people. More than 18,000 community clinics and Union Health Center are providing Medicare services to mainly rural women and children. Energy is crucial to achieve high growth. In 2009, we inherited power production capacity of around 3,200 megawatts. Here I have another story also. 1996, when I became Prime Minister first time, our power generation was only 1,600 megawatt. Then for the first time, I opened up it for the private sector, and we passed a law and took initiative, and we increased our power generation about 4,300 megawatt. But when we left in 2001, that time we had 4,300 megawatt. But after election 2008, 2009, when I formed government, then we found that our generation reduced to 3,200 megawatt. I don't understand that if there is any government, they should increase more, because we have a plan and projects, but those who were in power, they didn't implement it. But then we have to take initiative. Now the capacity is increased by more than 5 times to 16,000. The capacity is actually 16,600 megawatt. So you can compare from 1,600 to 16,000 that we achieve. As because Bangladesh Awami League is in power, that's why it has been improved. 90% of households have been brought under electricity coverage. Our plan is within 2021, 100% houses will be lighted. Work on a 2,400 megawatt nuclear power plant along with several other big power plants is going on. The strategic location makes Bangladesh an emerging hub for regional connectivity, foreign investments, and global outsourcing. Work on the 6.15 km Padma multipurpose bridge is progressing with our own resources, which will develop connectivity with second port, Mongla, and southern part of the country. We are planning to build a deep sea port, while our third seaport in Paira has commenced operations. Work on the metro rail in capital Dhaka is also progressing. Bangladesh could be a gateway to a market of 3.9 billion people through regional integration. Multimodal transport networks are being built to promote trade and people-to-people contacts among Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal, BBIN. We have taken an initiative to connect our two neighbors, India and China, through Bangladesh and Myanmar to revive the old Silk Road, Bay of Bengal multisectoral technical and economic cooperation BIMSTEC connects South Asia and ASEAN country. Distinguished guests, we have understand that investing in our vast human resources, particularly women and youth, would pay rich dividends. Nearly 20.3 million students, half of whom are girls, are brought under stipend and scholarship programs. Education of girls is public schools in free up to level 12. Free textbooks are being distributed among students up to secondary level since 2010. Some 362 million textbooks have been distributed this year alone. School meal program is introduced for more than 2.84 million children. 7% children are enrolled in schools. The female-male ratio in secondary school is now 53 to 47. Now girls are more than boys. Now we are taking initiative why boys are less than girl enrollment, but we will cover it up soon. which was 35 to 65% in 2009. Literacy rate has been increased to 73% from 45% in last 9 years. Here also I have another story. In 1996, when I from government, I found that our literacy rate was only 45%. Then I took a special program to increase our literacy rate, as well as, old education also. And with our initiative, that time we increased our literacy rate about 65.5%. But 2009, when I formed government, then again I found that has been decreased to 44 to 45% again. So you can imagine those who were in power, they didn't take any initiative, or the project we started, they didn't fulfill it. So now we have increased about 73% because we have to start, which we had in 1996, 45%. Then again to 2009 from 49%, now it is 73%, but it will be more very soon. We are expanding vocational training facilities to equip our youth with future livelihood skills. Special emphasis has been given to unlock the potentials of physically challenged children and people. We are spending 2.3% of our GDP in 145 social safety nets programs. These programs, coupled with some pro-people policies, have brought down poverty from 41.5% in 2005 to 22% today. Women are our agents of change. We are providing special facilities to women entrepreneurs. They get collateral-free bank loan with only 5% service charge. They are entitled to 10% of the SME fund and 10% industrial plots. The 350-member Bangladesh Parliament has now 72 women MPs. 30% seats are reserved for women at local government bodies. Over 16,000 elected women are placing their voices at the local government bodies. Our foreign policy priority is to strengthen friendly relations, particularly with neighbors, aimed at flourishing trade, investment, and development cooperation. Distinguished audience, our successes are not to suggest that there are no challenges. We face the challenge of climate change, although we are the least polluter. Rising sea level will induce displacement of millions. It is a shared responsibility of the global community to protect our planet, our biodiversity, and our climate. We are in the process of developing Bangladesh Delta Plan 2100 or the 2100 to mitigate and manage the climate change impacts. Bangladesh is following zero tolerance policy against terrorism and militancy, which of late became a global threat. Bangladesh is currently enduring the entire brunt of the recent exodus of persecuted Rohingya people from Rakhine state of Myanmar. Their total number is now 1.1 million, larger than the total population of many countries. We have given them shelter on humanitarian grounds. I have personally visited them in the camps to see their plights. So did many world leaders. Bangladesh seeks a peaceful, sustainable, and early solution to this crisis. Distinguished audience, we need to build knowledge and innovation partnership for transforming technology. We have to ensure a better quality of life, which cannot always be measured by the yardstick of per capita income. Therefore, we have drawn up our vision 2041, when Bangladesh will be a peaceful, prosperous, happy and developed nation in the South Asia. I am confident that we shall fulfill that cherished dream of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib's golden Bangladesh in good time. I thank you all and thank you very much for your patience and listening to me. Khuda Hafiz, Jai Bangla, Jai Bangabandhu, may Bangladesh live forever, long live UK Bangladesh friendship. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister. That was a wonderful tour de force. You covered a lot of different issues. And so I'm going to